Uh, well, I posted this TikTok earlier this morning that was like, why are vampires considered hot, but I'm not? I'm super pale. I have pointy teeth. I'm allergic to the sun. Lol. And it was meant to be a big joke. And then someone did a comment that actually got a lot of likes, which was nice. But they were like, hey man, even though your sexuality is ambiguous, I'm going to give you a compliment. Like, you are attractive. And I was like, ambiguous to who? And everyone's like, bi energy. I'm pretty sure you're bi. Aren't you bi? I thought you were bi. And so I was like, oh, so I realized I don't think I've ever talked about my sexuality, and like, not that it's necessarily anyone's business, but I feel fine doing it. For anyone who cares, for all intents and purposes, I am heterosexual. I talked to a friend about this the other day because I was like, well, how's the bi spectrum work? Because I have the ability to find a man or a masculine person attractive. In the sense, and not in that like hetero way where you're like, yeah, I can say that Ryan Reynolds fella's attractive. I have no problem. I'm comfortable enough in my masculinity to say that Ryan Reynolds fella's attractive. Like, it's not that way. It's in the way of just like, oh, wow, like, he is very pretty. Like, I'm a little fluttery. Like, he got flirty. Wow, like, that's cool. But I don't want to do anything about it, and I have no physical desire to do anything about it. So it's like, if you had to put it on a spectrum, I am heterosexual, semi-bi-romantic, but the only people I would pursue are women or femme-presenting people. So there's that for you. That's I've seen many people say you're demisexual. Yes, that's true, but that's on a different spectrum. Demisexual means emotions are more important to me than anything, but I'm ace flux, so there's all sorts of things. So like 95% of the time, emotions are most important. I really have to care about the person for that to be a thing for me that I'm interested in. That being said, the other stipulation is they are generally would have to be a woman or a femme presenting person. But I say ace flux because 95% of the time I'm demisexual. And then there's that 5% of the time that I'm allosexual, which basically means quote unquote average, like you're interested in people who are attractive to you. So like, I am demisexual, but I have had one night stands. It's like that kind of vibe. So people forget that you can be het and queer, says Madame Trash Heap. Yeah, and so I like haven't fully unpacked the terminology yet, because everything I say is probably confusing to someone. So just for all intents and purposes, especially with how it affects dating life, I'm just like, yep, heterosexual. Like, that's the easiest way. It's the easiest way to say that. And sometimes labels really help people. They can really help you figure out who you are and how you define yourself and like where you explore. And then other times labels are like, what am I? I just want to be. And so, you know, so there you go. That's how I am. So when people say that there was some ambiguity there, I was like, I guess. But also gender wise, I consider myself demi-man, which basically means I'm not non-binary. But if someone asks if I'm a man, I go, yeah. Like, I'm not like, I am a man and I identify with all the man stuff, but man actually sounds best to me in terms of all the labels. So there you go. So labels are great. I love that we're living in a time where people are able to explore and have the labels that help them do so. But I just sort of am who I am. If you're curious about who I generally would date, it's women and femme presenting people. So any hoozle. Boom. There we go. Just thought I'd share because I thought it, you know, I've always been open about stuff with this community, and I was like, don't people know that? Oh, they don't? Okay. I guess I didn't say anything about it. To me, it's just not a big deal because, again, it doesn't affect my dating life or how I present myself. It just, I am who I am. And if you have to put labels on it, there we go. Alrighty. So any